out today that 2010, the Freightliner is going to close the Portland plant and transfer over 1,000 jobs to Mexico and North Carolina. Why? The labor market's cheap. Folks work for it. No health care benefits, no retirement benefits. They're going to go from a unionized workforce to a non-union workforce. But let's think about what Freightliner really means. Freightliner was born in 1930. Consolidated Freightways, another Portland company, decided they wanted to manufacture their own trucks. So we began manufacturing trucks. And Consolidated Freightways and Freightliners in the 40s through the 90s provided good union jobs to tens of thousands of workers in this state, in this city. And those jobs were a ladder for many families like mine out of poverty. I remember the day my dad stopped working 2 jobs and started working 1 union job at Freightliner. That union card, that job meant the difference between cold cereal for dinner and chicken. You know, Consolidated Freightways fell victim to Reagan's deregulation, and we lost Teamster jobs, machinist jobs. And now a multinational corporation, Daimler, has bought Freightliner. They have wrung everything they can out of the workforce, promised them that they took concessions, they would keep the plant open, and they have welched on that agreement. When Freightliner closes its doors, Oregon will have lost 75,000 manufacturing jobs. 75,000. That doesn't take into account the folks who work in grocery stores that were dependent on those jobs, or in restaurants, or folks who made the parts for Freightliner, or delivered the trucks and supplied other products to Freightliner. Not to mention the loss of revenue to the state of Oregon and our communities, revenues that would fund education or healthcare or improve our roads. All that revenue is lost to us and is offshore. And nationally, we've lost millions of jobs. And for those of you who are as old as I am, you can remember the debate in 1993. The debate in 1993 was that Oregon was going to get 1,000 new jobs a year. This was going to be a job creator, not a job loser. And at the same time, we were going to raise all votes. All workers in the world would profit from this. Well, that hasn't been the case. It's really easy to focus on 1993 as sort of the middle class circling the drain, but you have to go back farther than that. You actually have to go back to 1980, when Ronald Reagan decided we were going to deregulate American business and de-unionize the American workforce. To put today's economy into perspective, we should remember that our economy didn't always work the way that it does today. When the middle class was built, when it was born in 1947, right after World War II, and up through 1980, that was a period of great economic growth for the middle class. In fact, the poorest 20%, they prospered the most. They actually made more than the richest Americans. And productivity matched the pace of wages. But since 1980, that's all changed. Productivity for American workers up 67%. And wages are stagnant. America hasn't had a true raise since 1980. And that's true for 90% of the workforce. But that top 10%, those folks who make $1.8 million a year, their wages have increased 181%. And the top 1%, those families that make $6 million, 500%. We live in a time where the average CEO makes in one day what the average worker does. And that wealth, with the greatest redistribution of wealth from 47 to 1980, is gone. It's gone. It's back to pre-Depression levels, pre-1929 levels. Over 70% of the wealth of this country rests in 10% of American families, the top 10%. And the top 1%, 35%. American workers work harder and they're getting less. You know, we live in an era where the average citizen workers have little to no voice in Washington, D.C. The power is in the hands of the very rich and the corporate lobbies. Little to no regulation on businesses, and we've all seen in the last 2.5 weeks the result of that. We've seen $700 billion of our money, our children's money, and our grandchildren's money being spent to bail out greed, pure and simple, is greed. $700 billion that could have gone to give health care to all Americans. $700 billion that could have created millions of jobs, rebuilding our railroads, rebuilding our education system, providing health care. It just doesn't make sense to me. Trade agreements without consumer and labor environmental standards may have started with Clinton. But I got to tell you, George Bush and Gordon Smith have put the metal to the metal. They have never met a trade agreement they didn't like or provide the tax incentives for corporations to take our jobs offshore. This is shameful. Trade agreements rip apart our families, our livelihood. They exploit workers in Mexico and other Latin American countries and Asia. I mean, what we do with these trade agreements is look for the lowest common denominator, the poorest nations to exploit. And then we turn the American workers against them because they think they're taking our jobs away. They're not taking our jobs away. The rich and the powerful are taking our jobs away. Well, we have a chance. We have a chance every 4 years to have a revolution in this country. This is our time. You can feel it. You can feel the momentum growing. We can have a change in Washington, D.C. Trade agreements that have labor standards on there. Treat people with human dignity. We can unionize our workforce once again and recreate the middle class. This is what this election is about. But I have to tell you, we cannot ever become complacent again. We cannot hold our electeds accountable every 4 years or every 2 years. We have to hold them accountable every single day. And if they allow this nation to every end of the day, we will tell them they're done. Just as we're going to tell them November 4th, George Bush, Gordon Smith, you're done. And we're going to replace you with a pro-worker, anti-corporate greed administration. Thank you.